Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. If you're watching this on YouTube and you see nothing but a blank screen, fooled you. There's no video for this, but we wanted to get something up. Anyway, for the audio version, I will say to anyone waiting for the full video version of the Pat Mayo Experience, you can have that starting this week. Got a temp studio rent until my studio is built. We'll be back with all your favorite guests in studio, full video version, so you will not have to wait much longer to see my beautiful visage back at you. Or, I mean, as some people like to say, the most punchable face in fantasy sports. Either way, if you click on it and watch it, I'm all game. Do whatever you want after you watch it. Anyway, if you want to subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio versions, if you just like to download this and listen to it on your phone, you can do that on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or Audio Boom. All free, all uncut, as always. Joining me here in Dallas, because that's one of the main reasons that we're not doing video, because we've been filming for about 5 hours. So
been a bajillion hours.
Yeah, so we've spent a lot of time together now. Alex Jankowski, who is with me for all 4 hours today. What's going on, dude?
Doing well. I'm ready for week 2 already. Duds ending week 1. I guess we still have the Monday night games to come, but
no one cares about that. We're already once the Sunday night games, and we're on to week 2.
Yeah, 4 o'clock Sunday night, and then the Sunday night game were laughable. I'm ready to move forward.
So you're a DK Live editor.
I am a DK Live editor.
And Chirag, Hira, you're a
DK Live editor.
DK Live editor as well.
We are the 2 DK Live editors.
As people who monitor what people search for on the internet, you know what people don't search for? Recaps. They want rankings for what's coming next.
What have you done for me lately? Let's move forward.
All right, so the big news we're going to get to, we're going to start with running backs and go position by position here. And this is going to be the big one because the David Johnson wrist injury is kind of... There's a lot of fake news, I feel, out there about it right now. We're going to know by Monday afternoon when the MRI results are released how much time David Johnson's going to miss. But I've already heard it's going to be from none to the entire season.
To half the season, right?
Yeah, so Kerwin Williams is the guy that you want to go pick up if there's no David Johnson. Right now in the waiver wire running back power rank, you should check out the full article and write-up up on the DK Playbook right now. I have him at number 2. And that's not quite knowing. There's going to be an update after I know the results. But let's just say
right now,
for reference, I have Tarek Cohen at number 1, which is not his name. How am I supposed to pronounce it?
Tariq
Cohen.
We're going to learn that one quickly.
Tarek Cohen is so much better, though. He just changed his name.
That's how it's spelled.
And then he convert and be the best Jewish football player since Sage Rosenfeld.
Tariq.
He might already be. He just needed that 1 week performance there.
So Kerwin Williams is number 2 right now. Let's say David Johnson misses 8 games. Would you then go Kerwin Williams over Cohen?
I'd have to think so, looking at their upcoming schedule. Outside of Cowboys, these are games where they can run the ball more effectively, rather than if you're talking a catch-up game. That's when you got more of the Andre Ellington out there. Kerwin Williams, though, can be that featured first and second down back. And especially, as long as he misses 1 week, you got the Colts you're staring down here in week 2. Kerwin Williams is a good ad.
What do you got for a guess for David Johnson time missed?
I think he's going to play next week.
So then this is just people have just blown all their fab budget.
I would say under 3 weeks at the absolute most. You're talking X-rays were negative. MRI coming back right now on a wrist. Tape that thing up. He's a back up.
Yes.
So a couple people have already been telling me Andre Ellington is the pickup, not Kerwin Williams, because they watched Andre Ellington play the entire end of the 4th quarter, basically. But the Cardinals had to pass. Anytime the game script is not rush heavy for the Cardinals, correct. Ellington's going to be on the field. Yep. But like you just mentioned, Cowboys week 3, but that's sort of the sandwich around the Colts and the 49ers. So even if DJ misses 3 weeks, let's say, and again, we're going to know after the MRI, this could just be nothing talk because he's not going to miss time. But Williams is going to be the goal line guy regardless of what goes on, and he's going to be on the field for first and second down while Ellington comes on third. So,
and after how Carson Palmer looked, they're running the ball.
They are running the ball for sure.
Well, he's going to be dropped en masse this week. We'll get to quarterbacks in a little bit, but he has a soft matchup against the Colts last week. Recency bias is going to play into everyone. Maybe not like season-long, but like DraftKings-wise.
Right, if you're streaming quarterbacks also, you don't have a transaction limit like some certain season-long leagues do.
Yours, which I have found out, which is so ridiculous.
It is beyond
30 max moves.
30 max moves.
Does that change the way that you guys play?
It has to, right?
Yeah, you're not able to really stream quarterbacks and defense. You got to stick. You get a defense, stick with them for a couple weeks for sure, and then really only move a quarterback if a guy is injured or a guy comes up on the waiver wire. That's really a can't miss.
I still got to stream defenses though because I have the Bills coming up at Carolina this week, and I'm not rolling that. So
I'm staying with the Arizona in mind because they're playing the Colts.
Yeah, well, it's going to be weird to see who ends up starting for the Colts next week. I can still see it being Tolzien somehow.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean how long has Brissett truly been there? And we can talk about that as well with the Houston Texans coming up on the short week as well. I think these bad quarterbacks will be back. We have not seen the last of them.
That's great news for in leagues that don't have a moves back. Great for streaming defenses.
I'll get all over that Bengals.
Although the Cardinals' defense is widely owned because a lot of people use them against Detroit unsuccessfully. Week 1, maybe they end up getting dropped. But
you got that pick 6 early in the game.
Yeah.
But they didn't even end up with that many points.
No.
With a pick 6.
Yeah.
Like, that saved them, was that pick 6.
That saved them.
And to your point, you brought up several times, the sacks weren't there. The pressure wasn't there.
Which is weird, isn't it?
So then Jim Bob Cooter, he knows he got to get the ball out quick.
Hey, listen, Stafford looked great Week 1. That's something that I completely got wrong. I thought he'd be max 2 touchdowns, like 280, and that would be his upside. Turned out that was not the case.
Some
Kenny Galladay with 2 touchdowns
depth
himself.
on the outsides, yeah.
So the full running back waiver wire pickup rankings, the way that I do this, I look between Yahoo, CBS, and ESPN. If you're owned in less than 60% in 2 of those 3 leagues, you get on the list. So if there's people being like, Corey Davis is available in my league, I don't understand these rankings. Well, he's owned in like 98% of most leagues. Like,
you're lucky.
What do you want me to do? I'll tell you to go pick up Antonio Brown, too, if you want me to. He just owned in too many leagues, so he can't make the list for receiver. So at running back, it's Cohen, Kerwin Williams, then Buck Allen, Chris Carson, Jamal Williams. I didn't know how to pronounce this guy's last name, really, because I wasn't watching much of that game with the sound on. It was a sound-off game for me while I was trying to take a nap in between our shoes. But it's Matt Breida? Is that how you pronounce it?
Breida, to my knowledge.
All right, so until he actually does something, then we'll learn his name. Yeah. Marlon Mack, the return of the Mack, came in and stole a touchdown. James Conner, those are sort of your handcuffs along with Mike Tolbert. Then it goes into Shane Vereen, Chris Thompson, Andre Ellington, Charles Sims, CJ Procytes, Charkandrick West, who were sort of your viable week-to-week, deeper league PPR running backs.
Garbage time running backs.
Yeah, I mean, or just negative game flow. Guys, like we saw Shane Vereen on the Sunday Nighter end up with 9 catches because the Giants were losing. The Giants are winning. He doesn't see the field.
Right. Yeah. Twice as many snaps as Perkins now.
Yeah, and Chris Thompson almost played as many snaps as Rob Kelly did against the Eagles, but the Skins were losing for like, I don't know, 70% of that game.
Yeah, majority of the game.
CJ Procyse, no targets.
Which is weird. Carson actually got some targets. Carson looked good in that game.
Carson played a ton in that game, but as we saw, offensive lines really hampered offenses that we were really big on in the Seahawks, the Bengals, and then the Giants in the late night as well. Turns out you got to be able to protect.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
Shocker. Big time shocker. So going into the season, there was some buzz about Marlon Mack being sort of the handcuff to Frank Gore, and I always kind of thought it would still be Robert Turbin just because he had been there, he had snaked some goal line stuff before. Definitely. But it looks like Mack's going to be the guy.
Yeah. The rebuild is already getting started in Indianapolis, and they have to start and get some reps with their rookie.
Might as well. I mean, you know what you got out of Robert Turbin.
And you know what you got from Frank Gore.
No.
Frank Gore looked, I mean, you only can use the word spry when you're talking with old people, but he did look spry. Like, he didn't look washed out by any means.
No, but are you really going to just burn the guy and just run into a wall? That's what's going to be happening for the next 6 weeks until Andrew Luck comes back, is you're just going to have Frank Gore running into a wall for 2 yards, like...
Yeah, I don't want to be starting Frank Gore, but he's a volume guy. We saw this with a couple running backs this week. Crowell was one of them who did nothing with all of his volume. Rob Kelly got volume. He just did nothing with it. I still liked the volume play, though. Like we talked about with Leonard Fournette on the Sunday morning show. It was like, listen, we don't like the matchup. We don't have the highest expectations for Fournette, but he's going to get 20-plus touches. Like, that's got to be worth something, and it was. And I think eventually that flips for a lot of these guys. Maybe not Gore, because he's going to be settled in that, like, 12 to 18 range.
Yeah.
And maybe he gets his most important touches vultured away from him. But either way, like, volume is volume, and you have to kind of roll with that. More so than, I don't know, like Joe Mixon. Well, great, he had 10 touches, 8 carries. What's that doing for you? Nothing.
And that was a negative game flow as well. We still expect Jeremy Hill, at least at the beginning, in a game where it's a little bit more competitive, to be getting those first and second down touches.
All right, let's go back to Cohen for a second because he is number 1 in my rankings.
Shout out NC-A&T. That's where he went to college.
What's it stand for again?
North Carolina A&T.
And what's A&T?
Agriculture and technology would be
Your best guess out of it?
yeah.
He looked good. Like, really good. Like, fast.
Definitely.
Way faster
Agreed.
than Jordan Howard. One of the things that I wrote in the column was people are going to react negatively to technical college.
Technical state. Yep.
People are going to react negatively to Jordan Howard. I mean, the guy did end up with 18 touches. He had 15 carries and 3 catches, scored a touchdown. Like, he's fine. Like, the Bears just aren't good.
It's more a sign of where they are on the outsides, really, than where they are with Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
He's not part of their pass break game, and
I mean, he ended up with 3 catches, which is great, but he did drop the game-winning touchdown, which is probably going to get Cohen back on the field more in terms of passing downs, and with the Bears expected to be passing a lot, Cohen for PPR format seems like the safest add to me. I don't know if he's going to be an every-week starter on your team.
So how much fab would you put towards that? How much percent of your fab would you look to put towards that?
I don't know if I would put enough to get him, is the thing. I think it depends on your running back situation, but, like, what do you think it takes to get him? I guess is probably the better question. Like, is it going to take 50 fab bucks? Is it going to take 25 fab bucks?
Are we going with a $200
budget?
$100 budget?
$100 budget.
$100 budget. Yeah. In week 1, overreactions, you're going to have to spend 40 to 50 to get him.
Do you think he's going to be worth that? Because the way I project him is I think that he'll be sort of a viable week-to-week play as like a low-end RB2 in PPR leagues, with upside should anything happen.
Or a low-end or flex play.
Or a flex play, sure. Yeah. I feel like you could probably stream a wide receiver. Like, double-digit targets is going to be hard to come by, but Kevin White's out.
Yep.
And look at this upcoming schedule here. You're at the Buccaneers versus the Steelers, at the Packers. At least 3 offenses that should be able to put them in a similar situation the Falcons did.
So, I mean, Bilal Powell is someone that people are kind of chirping right now because he didn't touch the ball until late in the second quarter, did end up with 5 catches. Can Cohen be sort of that guy? Like a Bilal Powell type, but maybe more touchdown upside because he's more explosive?
I mean, he's not going to get the carries there.
He could, though. What if he gets, let's say, what if we pencil him in for 5 to 8 carries a week and somewhere between 6 and 10 targets a week?
That actually looks fair.
That's very Powell-esque, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made the most out of those touches that he got in this one, and he's got
with the Chicago team, it looks pretty fair. That's a safe, or at least a viable floor. Might not be safe, but it looks like a viable floor for him.
It's something that if you project out how the Bears' game flow is going to go, and they're probably going to have to pass 35, 40, 45 times because they're losing in so many of these games. I mean, they looked all right against the Falcons. They should have won that game. But it seems like he's going to be involved enough that I think that's going to be viable. I think he's worth the #1 spot. Like, if you had a #1 waiver priority this week, would you burn it on Cohen? I think I would.
I would too as well. And part of what we talked about earlier also is that David Johnson will come back.
Yes.
At the absolute worst, 5 weeks from now, if you really want to believe the harshest projections there. Whereas this is Tariq Cohen has built himself into this offense, and there's no reason necessarily to think that it won't continue.
And also, one more thing on Cohen. It's not like he came out of nowhere. It might seem like it because it's week 1 and he's a young gun and nobody knew about him. But the beat writers and the preseason hype was there for him as well.
It was, but there's always still Jordan Howard standing in his way of hitting that upside and being like an elite level player. Yeah. He's someone that I drafted as a handcuff. Like, I have him. I drafted him in the 16th round of my keeper league. After Tim Andricus texted me, he was like, "I'm going to go pick up Cohen." I was like, "You can't. I already have him, sucker. You want to trade for him? I'm all ears." But what are the chances? Like, this is his game this year, and we never hear from the guy again?
It's the Bears. It's the Bears. You're going to hear from him.
I think. Listen, I wouldn't have him at #1 if I didn't think you would hear from him again. But I don't. We see a lot of guys explode week 1, and then we don't hear from them ever again each year. I don't think that he's one of those guys, but to not consider that part of it, I think is poor reasoning.
Yeah, and I mean, that's when you have to also look at where you are in your league, what type of league you're in. Obviously, in a PPR league, he's going to carry far more weight, whereas a Kerwin Williams, especially with these matchups that they have coming up, you might want to prioritize him there.
That's a fair point.
And I think also, like, I mean, another guy where the hype was there coming into the regular season, Matt Breida, however you want to say it right now.
And we saw Carlos Hyde do everything in that game.
Exactly, whereas Breida left with 4 carries, didn't make the most of it, 11 yards.
And Carlos Hyde had, 6, 7 catches?
6 catches on 6 targets.
That's not bad.
32 yards.
If he can get himself involved out of the backfield, like that's a thing that happens every single week, like that's beaucoup value
He's
for Carlos Hyde.
I mean, look at who else caught a pass in this game for the 49ers. Kittle, Goodwin, EeuPZk, Taylor, Robinson. He could be their second option.
You're not big on Kittle?
Not that big.
Kittle me Timbers?
Kittles and bits.
Okay, let's go to the number 3 on this list, Buck Allen. Because Danny Woodhead, there's no report on how long he's out for. But it's a hamstring injury. He got carted off the field. I doubt he's back next week or anytime soon. Kenneth Dixon's not coming back this year. So you don't really need to worry about him. So it's Terrence West and Buck Allen. Buck Allen is a better receiver than Terrence West. We know that. But it still looks like Terrence West is going to dominate the goal line. Not to say that Buck Allen can't take that from him, but what we saw against the Bengals, despite being up a ton, Buck Allen ended up out-carrying Terrence West. He ended up out-snapping Terrence West, which is really huge. And what happens in these games where the Ravens get down? You have to feel like it's Buck Allen who's on the field, right?
Yeah, and you have to look for the more explosive player as well. I mean, I think Terrence West is safe to say he's a known commodity at this point, right? I mean, yeah, he'll break that 20-yard run or so, but he's the goal line plotter right there. Buck Allen brings a little bit more energy to the game, more out of the backfield as well, as Joe Flacco continues to try and build that chemistry with those other weapons on the outside. There doesn't appear to be any tight end who's going to be garnering any amount of attention anytime soon.
So what you're saying is our Max Williams, Ben Watson discussion went for naught?
It went for naught, and Nick Boyle couldn't even work his way into that discussion. So, for those types of safety blankets outside of Macklin, Wallace, now you're talking about Buck Allen.
And we saw a propensity for Joe Flacco to throw to the tight ends and check down a lot last season. If Buck Allen's going to be the primary receiving back, I think that actually carries a lot of value. So 1, 2, 3 is Cohen, Williams, and Allen. If David Johnson only misses 2 games, I could see moving Allen ahead of Williams unless you desperately needed someone for, next week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we can all agree that next week only Kerwin Williams is the play there going up against the Colts. But
yeah, in the Week 2 rankings, if there's no David Johnson, Kerwin Williams will be the highest out of any of these guys in the rankings.
On that, too, as well. Kerwin Williams is 4,800 for next week against the Colts.
On DK?
On DraftKings. The salaries are out, and he's 4,800.
What's Buck Allen?
Buck Allen is at 4,100.
See, I don't mind that. Who are they playing?
They're playing the
Cleveland Browns. Although that's a game where you could probably see a lot of Terrence West. I mean, if Buck Allen's going to outsnap him, why not go Buck Allen?
Revenge game, Terrence West.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I mean, but at the same time, you think about, Terry Cohen is not overtaking Jordan Howard. Kerwin Williams will not overtake David Johnson. Buck Allen very well could become the featured guy also.
Oh, absolutely. There's a very large case to be made that Terrence West sucks.
Yes.
Not to say that Buck Allen is a world beater, but he could beat out Terrence West and become the primary bat. That's why, again, if these rankings are going to be subject to updating as we get more David Johnson news, but if David Johnson's not going to miss an extended period of time, I will move Buck Allen ahead of Williams. And you can even almost make a case, and for pure upside reasons, for if everything stays the same as it is now, that Buck Allen could be a better pickup than Cohen. So if people are going to break the bank on Cohen and spend 50 of their fab bucks, if I can sneak in with 7 of my fab bucks and get Buck Allen, I might just do that.
I think you can get him for even cheaper than that.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, the 3 of us are talking about him right now. People are going to see him third in my ranks. People aren't stupid anymore. People can use the internet.
This is true.
They can find the stuff out.
But do you see that Terrence West carries and his time on the field is going to, make people shy away from Buck Allen a little bit? West still got 80 yards.
He did, but they were both equivalent. It's the pass catching part of it that I'm not certain it's definitely going to be Buck Allen. But if Danny Woodhead's not around, Danny Woodhead was in that offense for a reason, and we saw it right out of the gate. 3 catches, 33 yards on the first drive. Yep. Buck Allen's going to be that guy in the Ravens' offense. And that can sneak yourself into the red zone, depending on the pace that the Ravens want to play. It just doesn't feel like they want Terrence West to do that at all.
Yeah, and I would rather, if we're going that far, putting my faith in Joe Flacco over Mike Lennon, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me. Cohen could become a part of the Bears' passing game, which is really enticing, just because they have no one. It's not like he's smaller than the rest of their guys. Yeah, he's a tiny dude, but he's not so much tinier than Kendall Wright.
Yeah, line him up in the slot.
All right, let's
fire it up.
Let's move to receiver. This was a really tough one for me because I didn't really know the one guy to rank, at number 1 when it came to it. So I put Cooper Kupp at number 1.
No qualms from me on that one.
And I actually think it kind of sucks because he did so well week 1. He's going to be a popular pickup. But I think the harder the defense that the Rams end up playing, so when they're playing real NFL defense, not the Colts, that Cooper Kupp actually benefits more than Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods because he runs, and that's why Marquise Lee is number 2 in these rankings with Allen Robinson done for the season with the ACL. They run really high percentage routes. They're really close to the line of scrimmage, and they're easy to complete. So when you're trying to build up the confidence of Jared Goff or Blake Bortles, hey, here's an easy 8-yard pass. Do that. And then you won't throw a pick. We're all good to go. We can try running the ball after that. It feels like he's going to soak up a lot of targets, where Sammy Watkins is going to get a shot. The upside, like if I was playing a GPP, I would always play Sammy Watkins over Cooper Kupp. But got cash game, and on my week-to-week PPR team, Cooper Kupp seems pretty good.
He does, and this is what we saw in the preseason. I think anybody, even pre-draft, looked at what Cooper Kupp did at Eastern Washington and said, okay, this is not your everyday guy coming out of 1AA or FCS or however you want to call it. And he showed it right from the start, and he was great against the Colts, and now they get the Redskins here in week 2, going after that 49ers, Cowboys, and then Seahawks. And then Jaguars even after that as well. There are going to be plenty of times where Jared Goff is checking down to hot reads, quick outs, things like that, and that's where Kupp will come.
4,100 next week on DraftKings for Kupp.
Cash game?
It looks viable.
Well, we'll see. We'll flesh everything out when we get to the DraftKings portion of the week. So just yeah, I'm going to use him for sure. And then 7 days from now, like, who was I using again? Marquise Lee comes in at number 2. Again, it's kind of the same thing. And you're right, I did spell his name wrong. That's stupid. Why doesn't he have a Q or a U after the Q in his name? He's like the only person on earth who doesn't abide by the standard rules of spelling and grammar.
His mother and father are the only ones who don't abide by that.
It's funny, this guy's like chirping me on Twitter that Chris Johnson isn't really high in my running back rankings. Like, Chris Johnson got cut by the Cardinals. He's not on the team.
He's
like,
not high
so
on anyone's rankings.
So did Spiller. I'm like, well, so what?
Does Spiller?
So did Spiller. Then he got cut again.
And then resigned.
Idiots out there, you people. Get better opinions, or at least have some facts before you come at me for my terrible opinions. But Marquise Lee and then J.J. Nelson. Then I go Kenny Golladay. I'm not willing to buy in 100%. Like, you see 2 touchdowns, you see the big playability, you had the big preseason game. People want to believe. But I don't know if he's sustainable in this offense week to week. I think he's someone that if you had to plug in, or if you were way behind in a matchup and you need someone to plug in as like an upside play, like he just strikes me as, to go to sort of the DFS realm, he's like Martavis Bryant. He's a GPP play. Like if Golladay comes out next week and has zeros across the board, I'm not going to be super stunned.
Yeah.
Are you?
Nope. I agree with that.
What I do like to see is just the overall usage, him being on the field and what you get from there, whereas TJ Jones, only the 4 targets, there are 2 catches. He's going to overtake in 3 wide receiver sets now. He officially has. We just didn't know whether he's going to be active or not. So he is going to be out there for an offense that's looking pretty good, at least through the one, obviously just through the 1 week. But, Amir Abdullah needs to get going as well. But from a passing perspective.
So what's going to happen next week, Monday night, when they take on the Giants? I know, the Giants didn't look great in the Sunday nighter, but the pass defense looked all right. Like, if they actually try to actively shut down Golladay, I think they'll be successful.
Yeah, he's not necessarily going to be a factor right there, right off the bat.
But do we go to Eric Ebron then?
Potentially. I mean, I just think that Golden Tate, I rank Golden Tate as a top 10 wide receiver coming into the year for PPR leagues because he has games like he did today where he just gets 10 catches for 100 yards. It's incredibly valuable. It just, he's not going to score a ton of touchdowns. That's not going to happen. But week to week to week, that's where the consistency is going to be in the Lions offense. It's going to be like him and Riddick. Riddick's going to get 4 to 6 catches a week. There's only so many passes to go around. And unless Galladay's scoring touchdowns, then it's going to be tough. And I mean, people made that same case against Tyreek Hill last year, too. Guy can't keep scoring touchdowns. Turns out, apparently, he can.
Yeah.
So, maybe Golladay can as well, but I wouldn't be willing to, break my fab bank or spend a number 1 waiver priority knowing that, Cooper Kupp's going to be very highly, sought after, too. You probably spend, $30, $35 on him. I don't know if I would go that high or even burn at number 1 on him. But knowing that I could get Marquise Lee or J.J. Nelson for $4, $5, I think I'd rather take those shots. No one sticks out to me right away as be like, oh, I'm going to pick up that guy and I'm going to start him for every single week of the season and be happy about it. Like, none of these names.
Yeah, not every single week, but Cooper Kupp to me does stand above these other guys. Marquise Lee, we've talked ad nauseum already about where the Jaguars are. Eventually, they're going to fall behind in games that are going to need to throw, but it's still not going to be right there in the game plan. I think Kupp is going to come in and be put into the game plan right off the bat. Watkins, they'll draw some plays up for him, of course, but Kupp is going to consistently be the first option there for Jared Goff.
So the entire rankings go Kupp, Marquise Lee, J.J. Nelson, Galladay, Kendall Wright stays at number 5. Nelson Aguilar, who got most of his damage off one broken play where he was just standing wide open.
Caught it, though.
Yeah, he did catch it. That was very impressive.
That's a big deal.
That's, baby steps.
P. Rich, Paul Richardson at 7, Sterling Shepard, who was owned in a lot less leagues than I thought he was. I thought he was around like 80% owned. He's only like 40% owned, which was shocking to me. Jermaine Kearse, Tyler Lockett, Taylor Gabriel, the Sledgehammer, Alan Hearns, who could be a bigger beneficiary in that Jags offense, but I think that the routes that he runs are more difficult for Blake Bortles to complete. Although someone said that Allen Robinson is now in the perfect position, standing on the sidelines. He's going to get all the targets from Blake Bortles. Russell Shepard, Marquise Goodwin, just pure upside. Like, there's not... I don't want to overreact too much to week 1. I think that people fall trapped to that. Like, I think that trading after week 1, if you have a good sense of where people are going or where the market is at, makes a lot more sense than just like spending all your fab budget on one guy.
Especially after this week.
Yeah, with all the good guys being terrible. Like every good tight end in the league had an awful game. Every single one of them. Yeah. But Evan Ingram had 44 yards. He's so good.
Hooper.
Yeah, Hooper.
Well, I'm looking at Shepard here as well, and then also Tyler Lockett. I mean, I brought up earlier when these quarterbacks are not getting the time that we would hope they would to hit the Paul Richardsons of the world, to hit Brandon Marshall. That's now why you saw Shepard and Lockett be a little bit more go-to options.
Yeah, I mean, do you prefer Richardson to Lockett or Lockett to Richardson?
I was big on Richardson going in, and now I kind of have egg on my face. So
hey,
Lockett
brings have a bad game.
Lockett brings the return game to it as well.
I still think I would go with P. Rich. He played more snaps than Lockett did. He's playing the 2 wide receiver sets when they're running those out, with Jimmy Graham lining up when he's on the field. Even if he's split out wide or in tight, P. Rich is the one who's out there. So I still think I would lead him. Kendall Wright's interesting, though. He did nothing. Until Kevin White got hurt. Then he started doing stuff all of a sudden. He has zero upside, is always his problem, but he's a better 12-team, 14-team league PPR player. Like in a 10-team league, just cross him off the list. There's no need for it. In the standard league, cross him off the list. You can't have him.
Correct.
But I think he could average 6 to 8 targets a game, and if that's the case with his high percentage routes, it could be 5 to 6 catches a game. If that's the case, you could start him as a flex in a 12-team league or a 14-team league.
Yeah, they definitely threw him out there a lot more. I think he only had 12 snaps in the first half, whereas you saw Kevin White and Deontay Thompson both up into the 20s. And then, part of that was game flow. The Falcons did get ahead, but then also, who else are you putting out there? Wouldn't be surprised if they re-signed Victor Cruz at this point.
No, he's too busy hosting the next mid-season The Challenge.
Oh.
That's what he's up to.
Well, there you go.
So there it is. I mean, that's why Tariq Cohen's so going to be sought after.
I think that's part of the case, too. Like, he can be split out and play at the same time as Jordan Howard. Like, I don't think it's mutually exclusive that, hey, Howard's in the game, so Cohen's not, or Cohen's in the game and Howard's not.
Correct.
If they can get them on the field at the same time, kind of like the Browns just did with Duke Johnson and Isaiah Crowell, just split them out wide, throw to him if you have to, get the guy in space. Clearly, he's a talent, and if you can get him in some space, he can burn people. Like, why not go for it?
Yeah, might as well.
It's better. He's probably better than Kendall Wright at receiver anyway. But just for the targets that he's going to get, the targets have to go somewhere. Maybe Deontay Thompson should be on this list, too. Someone said to me about Josh Bellamy. Like, I don't know about that. I feel like Deontay Thompson's the next guy up over Bellamy.
Yes.
All right, let's switch to tight ends. There was no tight ends, quarterbacks, or defenses I actually had listed as you have to go pick these guys up and roll with them for the rest of the season. These are streaming options only. So the tight end rankings are Charles Clay, number 1, your guys' guy, not mine, and egg in my face. Zach Miller, Austin Hooper, Jermaine Gresham, Evan Ingram, Jesse James coming off 2 touchdowns, George Kittle, and then David Njoku. Clay looks like he's going to get targets, and Zach Miller could fall into that line too with Kevin White out and that team always throwing. Then everyone else is sort of touchdown or bust. I know Hooper had the 88-yard touchdown, but...
Or what would he have had without that?
No, yeah, exactly. He had a 30-yard gain after that. That was it. Like, These are all streamers. If you have a good tight end, hold on to your good tight end. Even if you had a crappy week. Even if that guy was Eric Ebron. I would so rather have Eric Ebron than all these guys.
Interesting.
You wouldn't?
I'm
Would you
really high on Hooper.
You would drop Eric Ebron for Hooper?
No.
I consider the Falcons' offense a better offense than the Lions.
Sure, but there's the potential for Eric Ebron to develop his niche in that offense where it feels like the Falcons are going to be very Julio Jones-centric, and then they're going to be Freeman and Coleman-centric, and then Sanu, who still ended up with 9 targets in that game. Like, he could end up being like the 5th, 6th option where Ebron, maybe on specific weeks, like we saw it last year, he started averaging 6 to 9 targets a game. Like, if he can get back into that flow, then I think he's way above all these guys.
Yeah, the Jesse James thing to me is a bit of an anomaly here. I mean, eight targets. I can't project him to get maybe 4 targets moving forward.
Especially with Vance McDonald, like, coming up the rear and learning the playbook more and more rapidly.
Exactly, and maybe, I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve there with Bryant coming back. It just didn't seem to click right there for Big Ben and Bryant, and that's obviously going to continue. Le'Veon Bell is going to get more usage in the pass game than 6 targets, 3 catches. So
what a terrible game.
That was just an awful game right there. But to your point on Charles Clay too, I mean, a lot of that is limited work in the preseason with Zay Jones, with Jordan Matthews, both those guys being hurt, Tyrod Taylor being hurt as well. So they're just going to go early on to the guys that he's comfortable with, and that's why you saw actual design throws to Charles Clay.
The only real tough part of their schedule is going to be coming up with Denver. I mean, Carolina's an okay D. They're solid. I mean, they did show up.
They're going to cover tight ends pretty well, yeah.
I mean, they just give up 5 catches to Kittle.
Yeah.
Charles Clay, if he's going to be the primary target in their offense, like, it doesn't even matter if he's covered. Tyrod's probably still going to throw to him.
Yeah, so their schedule is
Tyrod's
terrible.
His first option is
Clay is the guy.
Yeah, his first option is hand it to McCoy, then run, then throw to Charles Clay. So he's technically the third option. Any sort of design play in that offense. It's just, unless Matthews or Zay Jones take a big leap forward, it's going to be Clay for the foreseeable future. Like, if you need someone to roll for the next few weeks, you can roll out Charles Clay in PPR leagues and be fine with it. I would still rather have my upside guys than Charles Clay. You know what you're getting with Charles Clay.
Floor.
Floor, sure, not a great one. For tight end, a pretty good one. He's one of the few tight ends that can contribute to your fantasy team without scoring a touchdown. If he does score a touchdown, it's like, he's sort of like the poor man's Delaney Walker.
Yeah.
In a sense. And then he'll get cramps and have to leave the game because that's what Charles Clay does. Quarterbacks. I only put 4 on the list because all of the good quarterbacks have good matchups this week. You can't really stream them. So Wentz at Kansas City, Eli Manning at home against Detroit on Monday night, Flacco at Cleveland, and Deshaun Watson at Cincinnati in the Thursday nighter. We don't even know if he's playing yet.
My guess is they're not going to start the rookie on the short week right off the bat. I thought maybe they get through this game, then they give him the extra time for the following week. Then I looked, and they were at New England the following week, so that's probably not the case there either. So maybe after that we see Deshaun Watson, or they just say, well, never mind, screw it, throw him in right now.
I can see them doing that. Like, Savage was so bad.
To me, the season's not lost. A, you still have a very good defense. B, you're still in a terrible division overall.
You know what they could do? Help protect their quarterbacks a little bit more.
Get Dwayne Brown back out there.
You got to pay him his money. It's now,
his
though.
money.
That no one had a better week.
That was the best bargaining chip you could ask for right there. To me, Eli Manning is, to that end, is almost untouchable after watching what we saw.
What if Beckham's back?
Yeah, okay, but
on Monday Night Football.
On Monday Night Football, yeah. You get the diva in prime time after missing week 1. They have, the Giants are terrible. They can't do anything. Eli Manning looks washed up. You get Beckham back, and all of a sudden he looks great. It's not like the Detroit defense was lights out against Carson Palmer.
No,
he just happened to be terrible.
Yeah,
fair enough.
3 interceptions that should have been returned for pick sixes. Only one of them was.
Yeah.
He got lucky in that game, which is terrifying to think. Although, if he to kind of circle back to Carson Palmer, though, if he gets dropped, he was so terrible week 1, he's going to be dropped for anyone that streamed him. He gets the Colts. The Colts looked awful. They gave up 300 yards to Jared Goff. Like, Palmer is a streamer. He can't qualify for this list because he's too owned right now, but after waivers, he's not going to be too owned. So you can just pick him up off free agency if you really wanted to, I think.
I think Flacco is the best kind of option in this list that you have here, going against Cleveland Browns.
More than your boy Wentz?
Oh no, Wentz. I mean, I already have him, so I have him unlocked.
Owned.
Yeah, he should be owned. Wentz should be owned, and if he's available in your leagues, go.
But like you'd go Flacco over Eli?
Yeah.
Even with Beckham back?
Yeah. With kind of the
Flacco threw for 121 yards today.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. Like they're going to rely on defense and pounding the ball and milking the clock to win a lot of these games.
This isn't a game where also they're going to be behind and they have to start throwing. That's when, obviously with Buck Allen and guys like that, that's where maybe we like that upside a little bit more. Whereas Eli Manning, obviously, you got Detroit coming in.
You don't want to stream Flacco pass this week. They got the Jags and the Steelers after that,
So this is the week. He's a legitimate one-week stream if you're in a pinch. And he's like he's number 3 on this list because there's not a ton of streamers, but you're not doing great with your team if you're playing Joe Flacco this week. You're really gambling he's going to throw 4 touchdowns randomly.
No Jared Goff on this list.
No Jared Goff on this list, unfortunately. I'm not quite the believer. Well, I want to see him play a real NFL defense and see what happens. And maybe that turns the tide for me. I don't know. But as of right now, no. So, defense, special teams, probably the most streamable of all positions this week. There's a bunch of really good options. I think the best is Baltimore against Cleveland. Baltimore's dealing fierce.
They did, and great jobs getting their hands up at the line of scrimmage just to even knock the balls down, and then just being all over Andy Dalton as well. They look great.
And against Cleveland, I know Kaiser's your boy, but come on now, against a good defense.
Steelers is a good defense.
Steelers are an alright defense. Not as good as the Ravens defense.
Yeah, that division is just tough in general.
This Chargers versus Miami, a total wild card right now as we record this.
Yeah, well, we don't know. Obviously, we don't know how Miami's going to play, but you put a really good pass rush, and we haven't seen the Chargers play, so this is all speculation that Bose is going to be really good again, and that Hayward and Verrett are going to be awesome on the outside. But if you're playing Jay Cutler and you get a pass rush, and you have 2 really good corners, and he's just going to throw it up anyway, that sounds like Pick City.
That does indeed. Oakland, I'm jumping way ahead here.
All right, so it goes Baltimore, Chargers, Rams were somehow only 30% owned on ESPN, despite being the number 1 or 2 defense by everyone's rankings this week. Aaron Donald's not playing. How could they ever beat Scott Tolzien? Yeah, thanks. 2 touchdowns and a safety. They're number 3 against Washington with Kirk Cousins going out west. Oakland against the Jets. Cincy Thursday night against Houston. Tampa Bay at home against Chicago. Then Tennessee at Jacksonville. I don't like Oakland's defense, but I like anyone playing the Jets.
Yeah, and I think that's why I might put them ahead of the Rams there going up against the Redskins, even though Aaron Donald is expected to be returned. Washington's strength is not run defense, or it's not rushing the ball anyways, so not exactly sure how those guys on the outside
said, hey, we want to run the ball a little bit more this year. Kirk Cousins comes out chucking the ball right away.
Yeah, hey, people laughed at me over Philly, and they were laughing until they scored a garbage time touchdown.
There you go.
On a play that probably shouldn't have held up anyway. But still, it happens.
The points are there.
Listen, if Cousins is going to drop back 40 times in any game, I'll take the other defense. He's got to make mistakes. He might score 25, 28 points, but he will make enough mistakes and give enough upside. And the Rams defense showed, you can't really say they showed it today, but at least they have guys that can return the ball if they get picks.
We know they have hands enough that they're able to catch it. So.
Scott Tolzien does throw floaters out there, but either way, Oakland should be, I would guess they're going to be pretty popular, but who cares? Just take them against the Jets.
Yeah, but you're not breaking the bank necessarily, or, I wouldn't use up the waiver right there on Oakland against the Jets because the Jets just seem that they can't get out of their own way to make the mistakes. They're just going to plug along and then punt every time. So
Cincinnati's going to be dropped a lot after getting waxed by Baltimore, but a date with Houston, short week. If it's Savage or Watson, I think they can get back on track.
Thursday night, you take the defenses every time.
I would put Houston on this list, but they're 100% owned.
Yeah.
All right, any final Week 1 thoughts before we move on and get to rankings and previews? We had 8 months to prepare for Week 1. Now we have 6 days to prepare for Week 2.
I just really hope this Minnesota-New Orleans game turns into something exciting.
I'm more excited for the Chargers-Denver game.
Another slugfest?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a violent game.
That will be a violent game.
Yeah.
Where does Team Jam 'em in go from here? That's a question right there.
Well, I guess, yeah, if we're going to kind of... Well, do you have the $1 billion lineup in front of you?
I can get it.
Yeah, check out the $1 billion lineup. I'm curious to see how that ended up with everything.
Sure.
Cohen was definitely in there.
Oh,
Cohen and Galladay were on there.
Cohen and Galladay at $3,000.
Actually, I think I just got my phone.
$1 billion lineup.
All right, here we go. You want me to just read it off?
Yeah, read it off.
All right, Matt Stafford, Tariq Cohen, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, Golden Tate, Kenny Galladay, Austin Hooper, LaShawn McCoy, Rams, DST.
A lot of good DSTs this week.
Great. 3 of the top 10
Terrible
overall scores.
Yeah, terrible
DSTs.
quarterbacks this week.
Yeah, we're not like...
And we're expecting those terrible quarterbacks to continue to be
I
terrible.
didn't even look at what won the Millionaire Maker in terms of total points, but it had to have been low comparatively to other weeks.
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're talking the winning lineup in this $1 billion free roll was 197.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Millionaire is going to be.
The Million Maker didn't even get to 200. 198.88.
Yeah, so the Millionaire Maker lineup was, if this finally loads on my phone.
I got it. I'll go with Carson Wentz, Todd Gurley, LaShawn McCoy, Antonio Brown, Michael Crabtree, Larry Fitzgerald, Zach Ertz, Tariq Cohen at 0.2%. You win $1 million if you play that guy. And Rams DST.
Okay.
Well, and leading up until they're not.
That's a chalk lineup
that's
with
a very
one
chalk
guy
lineup.
who's different.
That's
Yep.
just going LaShawn McCoy instead of Beller Johnson, and hey,
Yeah, that
must
has a
have been
very
watching
chalk
our
lineup.
morning show.
Yeah, and Tariq Cohen at the flex spot, 0.2% owned for the $1 million.
Wow, that is an NCAA graduate or a member of Tariq Cohen's
Yeah, it's
media.
his
His name is Bears Fan 24/7.
Is it really?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's doing your homework.
Hey, sometimes it pays off to be a Homer Bears fan. So much better than me. My best lineup was only up to 143. Ew. And that won. Like, that was winning money, and that won money in the Millionaire Maker. Like, bad week. We're going to see... Do you feel like we're going to see a flip next week? It's going to be all scoring? Because there was none this week?
Yeah.
Like, if you had bet the under in every game, you would have come out with a lot of money, I feel.
Except for the Rams.
Except for the Rams.
Except for the Rams.
My best lineup was the dual tight end approach here.
Oh, yeah, we
Walker
got to
and
go
Reed.
that double tight end.
Or just play Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, right, for all the
Yeah,
money.
if you're Bears fan 69 at hotmail.com, you're gonna play Tariq Cohen and win all the bucks. You can afford a Gmail account now.
Oh.
He's gonna be fine. So, any final thoughts on the week? Did you have fun in Dallas?
I had a great time
Yeah.
in Dallas.
It was a lot of work. If
Yeah.
people don't know, we legit did like 5 hours of coverage on Sunday.
And
Whether you watched it or not, we did it.
And if you watched it, all of it, then you probably heard some repeated takes there. There's only so much you can say.
Yeah,
for
if
every
you're listening to
single game.
this right now, you're probably hearing some repeated takes. It's a bit fresher because we have a bit more information to work with.
A little bit.
But yeah, you can just tell people that you don't want to watch let's say a 3 p.m. Eastern lineup block live. You don't want to watch that. You want to watch football.
So funny story. I mean, when we recorded on Friday, or no Saturday, we had that discussion about Kareem Hunt. Where do you look at Kareem Hunt for trade value going forward? Now, after we've had so many busts here in week 1,
And
who's
injuries.
nibbling on these? What are you
Okay.
thinking now?
Well, okay. Let's say you had David Johnson, and it comes out David Johnson's out 6 weeks, and someone offered you Kareem Hunt straight up for him. Would you take Kareem Hunt?
For David Johnson,
Yeah.
missing 6 weeks?
Yeah.
I would.
Would you? I don't know if I would or not. I'd really have to think about it. What if it was last?
Ask me after the waiver wire claim, and if I got Kerwin Williams.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Let's say you offered up Kareem Hunt for Le'Veon Bell coming off a terrible week. I don't think that's a trade that necessarily goes through, but I also
No.
don't think it's laughed off. Because that's the worst thing you can do when trying to make a fantasy trade is make a trade so lopsided the other person's like, I'm not even going to counter this. This is stupid. And I'm
Le'Veon
not-
Bell only plays 70% of their snaps. They really didn't even throw him out there that much. He was just getting eased into the
Yeah, but if
It
you
was
were...
a message.
Let's just say you are not paying attention to snap counts or anything like that. You're just someone who plays fantasy. You saw Le'Veon Bell had a bad game. You watched Kareem Hunt beat the Patriots Thursday night in prime time, have a giant game. He's a rookie. Oh, he's so good. I'm going to get Kareem Hunt win my league. There's people out there that would make that trade, I feel.
And then you deserve to make that trade. If that's how hot
agreed.
take, quick trigger you're going to be about it, then sure, by all means, go ahead.
So I think if I had Kareem Hunt, I would aim high. It's tough with David Johnson because of the injury, but like Kareem Hunt for Le'Veon Bell, Kareem Hunt for LaShawn McCoy. Like these are trades I'd be trying to make. Kareem Hunt for AJ Green. AJ Green had a bad. He only had 70 yards. He sucks.
He's terrible. Yeah, start getting in the ear of your friend, you know? I mean, you saw Dalton. You think Dalton's going to be able to do anything with Green this year?
Yeah, no, Tyler Eifert can't do anything either. Dalton's so bad. He's probably going to get cut. This is the kind of language you have to use when you talk to these people. And you're all good to go.
Then you win that Cohen waiver claim, then you start dangling him out there.
I do think that Jordan Howard probably presents the best buy low of the week, though. Like, you don't actually have to give up much to get Jordan Howard right now. I still think that even with Cohen being the top waiver pickup of the week, that Jordan Howard's probably still a top 10 running back for the year.
Yeah, come on. He's still going to be the #1 option running the ball between the tackles. They're still going to want to have some positive game script at some point where they're able to control the clock, and that will be Jordan Howard.
Like, realistically, the only thing that separated Jay Ajayi and Jordan Howard to me was that Jordan Howard was going to be involved in the passing game. Now it looks like he's going to be less used in the passing game. So basically, he's Jay Ajayi. Yeah. If you had Jay Ajayi right now and you offered him to the Jordan Howard owner in your league, the Jordan Howard owner would be like, "Can I throw in anything else for Jay Ajayi? This is great." and they're basically the same guy.
Yeah, and Jay Cutler rolling into town didn't come to Miami to hand the ball off to Jay Ajayi.
No, he came there to sling and smoke six.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Pretty much.
It's basically what Jay and I live the same life philosophy.
One and the same.
Yeah. we might as well, but maybe we are the same guy. You guys don't know.
Have you
ever seen me and Jay Cutler in a room together? No, is the answer.
And that's why he didn't have to play this week, because he had to come under the nose.
Yeah. I rigged all of this up. It's all a part of the master plan. All right. Tell everyone where they can find you on Twitter.
C_Hira24.
Mainly, wait till basketball season comes around.
Then
give you the follow.
Yeah,
do it now.
But just to let you know, I'm actually going to be working on a bunch of preseason write-ups and a bunch of kind of team previews for the NBA season. We're about 20 days out from preseason and training camp opening up on September 25th. So I'm super excited. I'm going to be mashing content. I'm going to be Mayo Light over here on the East Coast.
You're going to be on the East Coast pumping up preseason basketball?
Yeah. Oh, that's my specialty.
Thrilled to do it.
Oh, I am super thrilled. So excited.
Who's like the random preseason stud, do you think, is just never going to make it in the NBA but be awesome in the preseason?
Oh, well, last year there was a guy, oh my gosh, now I'm like completely blanking right now, but his name was Jordan?
Michael? Jordan?
Not Jordan McRae. Jordan McRae. That man right there made my following last preseason. Jordan McRae was the GOAT of preseason for the Cleveland Cavaliers because they didn't play LeBron, they didn't play Kyrie, they didn't play Kevin Love. Jordan McRae and Kay Fedler were the plays last preseason. I'll find some more great plays this upcoming. Yeah, Kuzma. Yeah, Kuzma's going to be great this upcoming preseason. But just to that fact, it's kind of one of those things where, I watch the Summer League, and I mean, a lot of people do now too. But it's just, you just continue to follow all the transactions and kind of project out the minutes. And you look at guys like, for example, D'Angelo Russell going to a new team, going to come out, sling it out, trying to prove right away that he's the man on this team. So just watch for my preseason.
I know there's no video, but I have to explain the scene to you guys right now. Chirag, this entire hour, was leaning back on a couch.
Half asleep.
Just kind of going through, all right, yeah, Kerwin Williams, all right. We get to preseason basketball. He is sitting bolt upright.
He's fired up to talk about it.
He is ready to go.
Alex, where can everyone follow you?
I'm at by Alex Jankowski, BYALEX.
Because you're by?
Here we go again. Because I was a man of the written word of the print journalism industry, so I went down the trend of having my byline, and then that earned me a blue check mark.
And you don't want to get
now I've gone on to the digital world where it doesn't make as much sense, but I don't want to lose the blue check mark.
You just want to be by. It's all right. On the Pat Mayo Experience, you can experience anything you want. It's a no judgment zone here.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I've talked myself into a corner here, and
Bye,
it's
Alex
time to
Jankowski.
go.
Can you guys pump up the DK Live app? Because you guys showed me some new stuff over the week that, I had the app. I wasn't aware of what it did. Now I have, push notifications coming through. That's mainly you guys.
Yeah, that is us. That is our job right there. We are on the pulse of every single sport that's offered on DK Live. We rolled, if you updated the app, you saw the in-game tracking so far, far revamped, far upgraded for NFL this season. Following every game right there on one screen. And then pregame research, that's really where we've put in a lot of time as well.
Ooh, so
At
much
least
time.
224 analysis blurbs every week.
Seems
Before
like
we
a
get
lot.
to Sunday, it is every team's quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, and DST, a breakdown of their matchup, more getting added in, and then obviously any breaking news that comes through. We get you the breaking news right away with a push notification, and then we follow that up with analysis from one of our contributors as well. So it's really just comprehensive.
Not only
total
that,
package.
with the blurbs as well, we also make sure to put in there, mix in videos as well. We got the DFS stuff going to be going on.
And my
DKL.
stuff.
Yeah, well, yes, and you, but just to say, I mean, you're a given. You're here. You're a part of it.
Listen, the DFS Edge guys, whether it's Al, whether it's Pete, or whether it's Adam, those guys are a bit more known than I am. They really are. Look at their following.
We could start comparing follows here.
Yeah, I mean, if we start comparing them, then I start losing. I don't like to be a loser. I like to be a winner.
Well, you're standing king right now out of this 3.
Hey, we're sitting in my hotel room recording this in Dallas before we fly out, trying to get this all in before we completely
But just for example, I mean, I made sure to throw in all your shorties that you were recording right on the practice field. We get them in there. It's not only written word. You can watch videos.
Listen to podcasts.
You can jam out over here on DK Live.
We might even be throwing in some commenting features coming up where even everyone can join in on the conversation.
Yeah, that's going to go.
And on iOS features as well, our home screen has been revamped. So we've added some news marquees and a couple different things to the home screen. So if you're on iOS, make sure to check out that. If you haven't updated it, go ahead and update to get the new version.
And if you don't even play on DraftKings, like if you're not a DFS player, I do find it is the best app for play-by-play.
To that point, also in this update, if you're on the scoring app, you're looking at the leaderboard. You look at the top right corner, you'll see a little a DK symbol with a little drop down. You go there and you can get all of the scores recalculated for ESPN leagues, for Yahoo leagues, for CBS leagues as well.
Arcade mode as well.
Yeah, and that's just a way that we're kind of helping, hey, look, we know you want to track other teams, not just necessarily your DK lineups. This is a way that you can do that.
See, this is the customizable part I had no idea about until you showed me, because I am bad with technology. I know how to download it, and I can use it to find scores, stats, and plays. But it has all these other features I just had no idea about.
The gift that keeps on giving her.
And it's going to be better.
Oh, it's going to get better.
Oh, yeah.
There we are. All right, that was the Pat Mayo experience. Again, I apologize for the video version not being as consistent as it should be, but that should be rectified this week, which means Tuesday, you're going to get the rankings debate. Wednesday, the DFS DraftKings breakdown and preview, cash game, GPP, every position. Thursday, me, Feinberg, and Andercuss, game-by-game previews, spread picks, everything like that. Then we're going to do ownership show, an injury report on Friday, and I'm guessing probably going to be live on Prelock Live on the DraftKings Facebook page leading up to Week 2. So remember to like everything. Remember to subscribe to everything. You can do those audio versions on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Audio Boom. For the video versions, you can watch it on the DK Playbook site along with this article, or you can just subscribe to the YouTube page under DraftKings and find all the Pat Mayo experiences right up there. Hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something, and I hope to God you won in Week 1 and you're not sending me trolling comments while I'm not looking. Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.